Happening today, another push for peace between Ukraine and Russia. Ukrainian President Zelensky is headed to the White House after he was not invited to that high-stakes summit last week between President Trump and Putin. Today, Zelensky will be joined by other European leaders as a sign of support.
This meeting comes after that summit between President Trump and President Putin ended with no peace deal and no ceasefire. But Mr. Trump did say that they made a lot of headway. ABC's Rachel Scott is at the White House with a look at what to expect for today.
Pedro, Michelle, and Brittany, good morning to you. Well, President Zelensky was not invited to that summit in Alaska. He was left on the sidelines. So today he will be getting his own meeting with President Trump, but he is not showing up to the White House here alone. He will be flanked by several European leaders. This morning, as Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky touches down in Washington, President Trump says it's up to Zelensky to end the war, even though it was Russia that invaded Ukraine. President Trump writing on social media, President Zelensky of Ukraine can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to, or he can continue to fight. The president ramping up the pressure on Ukraine after his summit with Russia ended with no peace deal and no ceasefire.
There were many points that we agreed on, most of them, I would say, a couple of big ones that we haven't quite gotten there, but we've made some headway. So there's no deal until there's a deal.
Zelensky expected to show up to the White House today, flanked by several European leaders, including the French president, the German Chancellor, the British Prime Minister, and the Italian Prime Minister. A remarkable show of force just months after Zelensky's meeting with Trump ended.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
But Zelensky says it's Putin that is bluffing, warning he's using a summit with Trump as a photo op.
So it's necessary to cease fire and work quickly on a final deal. We'll talk about it in Washington. Putin does not want to stop the killing, but he must do it.
The president said he would walk out of the meeting if Putin wasn't serious about a peace deal and warned that he could face tougher sanctions.
I want to see a ceasefire rapidly. I don't know if it's going to be today, but I'm not going to be happy if it's not today.
But no agreement was reached, and so far Putin has not faced any consequences. The Russian leader was welcomed with a red carpet, a handshake, and fighter jets as he touched down on American soil for the first time in nearly a decade. We were there as both leaders arrived in Alaska. I asked them about the violence in Ukraine.
President Putin, will you stop killing civilians?
Trump and Putin riding together in the Beast, meeting behind closed doors for nearly 3 hours. Cameras invited in for just a minute. I asked if he would commit to peace.
Mr. Putin, will you agree to a ceasefire?
But neither Trump nor Putin took questions from reporters, only delivering brief remarks before ending the summit. Putin boarding his plane to head back to Russia, only to continue attacking Ukraine. So Zelensky has been adamant that there must be a ceasefire as these longer-term peace negotiations continue. Well, President Trump has now backed away from that idea, but he does seem to be coming around to one of Zelensky's key demands, and that is providing some sort of security guarantees for Ukraine. Now, the president told me on the way to Alaska that he would be discussing territorial swaps with the Russian leader, but ultimately said it is going to be up to Zelensky to decide what, if anything, he would turn over to Russia. Reporting from the White House, I'm Rachel Scott, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Rachel. While talks happen in Washington, Russia's war with Ukraine continues. New strikes have killed even more people.
ABC's chief foreign affairs correspondent Ian Pannell joined us live in Kyiv. Ian?
Yeah, good morning, guys. I mean, while President Trump rolled out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin, Putin's military was bombing Ukraine. President Trump in that press conference saying, we're going to stop thousands of people a week from being killed, and President Putin wants to see that as much as I do. Well, this is what Putin's military did just this morning. 5 Russian attack drones striking this residential apartment complex in Kharkiv in the north of the country. Shocking images of destruction, rescue workers trying to get people out, at least 7 killed. An entire family, including 2 children among the dead, one of them just a 1.5-year-old toddler. And that's why Ukrainians want a ceasefire, why they don't trust Putin's promises, and why President Zelensky is going to push for ironclad security guarantees today. Even with the support of those European leaders, he's going to be under huge pressure to make concessions, especially on land, but his priority will be twofold. Stop the attacks on civilians like the one this morning and ensure that Russia doesn't invade Ukraine for a third time. Guys?
It's such difficult. I mean, it's not an exaggeration to say that the entire world, Ian, will be watching what's happening in the White House today in that conversation between Zelensky and Mr. Trump. Thank you so much, Ian Panel, reporting from Kyiv.